Hello, friends. Welcome to the June Moments and Memories launch party. We will just give everyone a minute. Oh, there I see some eyes. Hello, hello. Say hello in the chat so I know who's here. You'll just give everyone a minute and then we will get started. How's everyone's week going? Good? It's Thursday already. No, it's Wednesday. It's not Thursday. I'm jumping ahead. I'm already in my mind doing Thursday's jobs. Hello, Susan. Hello, Linda. All right. Well, we're going to get started. Everyone can catch up if they're coming in a bit late. Of course, they can always watch us on replay. But we are going to talk about the June page in our Moments and Memories series. Now, this means because it's June, we are 50% through the 2026 year, which what happened there. And next month we will be starting July, and that will mean that we are on the second half of 2026. So the year goes by quick, especially when you document it month by month, which is my favorite to do. So you are looking at the bundle here. How do you guys like the colors? Are they great? I think they're great. It's a fun collection. It's the Color Me Happy collection from Simple Stories. And this month, you're going to get the icon sticker sheet. So it's 6 by 12 in the package, but it's actually a 12 by 12 sticker sheet. So there's two sides to it here. I have my camera zoomed out a little bit, so you got a bit of glare up here from the lights, but I'll zoom in again once we're done showing the actual layout. Lynn's saying, I'm working on my May tonight. I'll be up to date by the time I get this one. Isn't that great? It's such a good feeling. I'm only up to date because I have to be. I would be with the collectors if I didn't have to have these videos ready every month, if I'm honest. But that's okay. I like a deadline. And yeah, so you get the sticker sheet. You're also getting the bits and pieces. No, sorry, the page pieces for that collection as well. You're going to get the tag paper because I have a tag problem. There's a sheet of white cardstock, and then I've also added in a piece of paper from the Field Notes paper pad from Arden Creative. So I have a pad of paper that I've got sort of secretly stashed away, and when I need a little extra something, I pull from that pad. I've got a few collections that I have set aside that just have, generic papers in them that I can pull in if I need to add something. So that is your bundle. And then there is a photograph that goes with it as well that shows you the layout so that you have that for reference. So I'm going to set this aside for a few minutes and then we'll bring on the actual page design. So we will start with the actual layout. This is what I created with that lovely tag paper. Carolyn Elliott, I wish I was up to date, but I've been working on last year. That's good. That's good. As long as you're working away at it, that's a good thing. Susan says she loves it. Well, I love it too. I got to say, this is not where I started when I pulled out my papers and I had this idea in my head and then I went, I don't know if I like that. And then I had already cut the tag paper into strips. So I was kind of like, well, do I cut them apart? Do I leave them together? And I just started playing. And yeah, it was fun. So I'll break it all down for you guys and show you all the little tips and tricks. But I'm going to just hold it up a little bit so you can kind of see. So the tag paper is actually not cut apart. It's in rows. So I have 4 rows with 4 tags in each row. And the reason I wanted to do kind of a grid style layout was because I started looking at how many photos I have. And I'm like, wow, I have a lot of photos for this month. What am I going to do? So these photos are from last year. I'm doing 2025's photos on my layouts, just so I can work ahead. And yeah, I took a lot of pictures last year in June. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to get, as many as I can on, as many of the meaningful ones on as I can. So I thought I need a way to put more photos on. And I really love the tags. So that's what I decided to do. So we'll break that down a little bit. And I'm going to bring on the other page and you can see how they look when they go together. So there is, I created another cluster over here using a couple more tags and some of the stickers and ephemera and all kinds of fun stuff. And then I just filled in the rest with my favorite photos from the month. So that is your double page spread. I had a lot of fun working with it. This collection is very bright and colorful. So it has that rainbow feel to it, which is right up my alley. I really gravitate to that color palette. So it was easy for me to have fun with it. Now you have quite a bit to choose from in your bundle as far as embellishments go, because you have the full 12 by 12 sticker sheet. And then you also have the page pieces. So there's a lot of goodness on here and you'll have lots left over. I like to put these bundles together when I'm ordering the product, and I don't want to restrict myself too much. So sometimes we only might use one or two things from, like in this case, the page pieces, and use a little bit more on the sticker sheet. But I don't want to be, grasping for things. And I don't want to have too many add-ons. I mean, I could go through my craft room and pull out all kinds of stamps and dies and things to make my own ephemera and just go crazy. But the list of add-ons might be quite hefty then. So I try to make sure we have enough to play with. And we definitely did this time. So let's talk about, so here's the photo that comes with your kit. So you've got that color photo to help you when you're ready to put it together. So let's go through the supplies I used. So in your bundle, I went through all the papers and everything that you're going to get with that. So we'll move on to the add-ons. So the June die cut this month I did in lime green. Now you can really pick out a lot of different colors on this. The obvious one to me was teal, but we've used teal quite a bit. So I thought, I'm going to switch it up. So I went with the lime green and I think it works really well. The other one I could have chosen was pink, but I know not everybody wants pink. So I decided to go with the lime green for something a little bit different. So that is what your June die cut is. So if you're picking up the die cuts, make sure you grab that. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit more because I think it's going to look better. Whoa. Okay. So that's where I usually sit. I'm wondering if I have my camera setting wrong. Does it look blurry to you? Great choice, Susan says. Good. I'm glad you like it. Okay, so June die cut. And then obviously if you're doing the calendar half of the page, you're going to need the blank calendar sheet. So for those of you who are with us all the time, you might already have a stash of these. And if not, I'm sure you know to pick that up, but that's in the shopping section. And then I did sand my photos. So the sanding block is something I always recommend, and I will just hold that up. You can kind of see it nicely in this cluster of photos here because I have them overlapped a little bit. So you can see the edges of my photos are sanded, and I really love doing that. And I actually sanded some of the stickers this time too. So that is an option too. Monica says it's not blurry. Okay, well, that's good. So I do love a sanding block. And then foam adhesive is, for me, a must. So whether you use foam squares or foam dots, I use a roll of foam tape, which I highly, highly recommend. We have several options available. And what that allows you to do is cut your pieces to the size that you want. When I pop up my photos, I don't want them to be sagging in the middle. So I have strips of foam tape in behind here. And then when I do my stickers, I have little pieces that go all the way across just to make sure that everything is supported and it's not going to sag down. So I do love the rolls of foam tape. They give you lots of flexibility. And then for my gems this time around, I use Tiny Diamonds. Now we just received a shipment of these. We have them in the bold and the bright. Either one of them will work perfectly with this collection. So whether you pick up bold or whether you pick up bright, or whether you have bold or bright already, it makes no difference at all. But that is what I've used for the little gems in my clusters on my page. And then if you're going to do the stamping, like I'm going to show you, you'll need black ink for stamping. It can be any kind of black ink at all. We're not doing any special techniques with it. So it doesn't matter if it's alcohol marker proof or waterproof. Any black ink will be fine, but I see a question. I haven't sanded photos for a long time. Funny how we forget some of these little tricks over time with all the new fandangled tools and fads. It is so true, Loretta. It's really funny because I find myself, I like to try new things. But I always go back to some of my, I'll call them classic moves where, you know, the things that just are like comfort techniques to me. And sanding my photos is definitely one of them. I used to mat all my photos, and on my calendar side, I never mat them. I like to get on as many pictures as I can, and I let the pictures sort of stand out and do their thing. But I find sanding the edges, especially when I'm overlapping them, it just sort of defines each photo, which I do like. So it's kind of like adding a little white mat behind them. And I love how that happens. But I totally agree with you. With all the new techniques and trends and everything else, sometimes our favorite things or the things that we did a long time ago get kind of left in the dust. And but that's pretty much something that you'll see me do each and every time I do a layout. I find all those little details really add up, and it ends up making my page kind of just the way I like it. So I did use a stapler. I'm using the Tiny Attacher and the staples for that. Each tag has twine on it, and then I've sort of folded it over and stapled it down onto itself. So I've done that on all of them. I love the Tiny Attacher. It's just a small little staple. So it's much smaller than a regular stapler, but a regular stapler will work. And I love the way that that looks. So that's what I used for that. You'll need a hole punch or something to do the holes in the tops of your tags. If you have a teeny tiny die, you can also use that to punch out the hole. Now, when I was originally playing around with all the tags, I was going to put toppers on all of them, but I just decided to leave the tags just the way they were. So I punched the hole there and then just kind of went with it. But if you have toppers and things you want to add, you can certainly do that. White floss. So I talked about how I use the strands here. So we sell this by the yard. You can purchase it in 2-yard, 5-yard, and 10-yard lengths, I believe. So 2 yards might be kind of tight. You might get away with it depending on how much, how frugal you are with it. But I did use it on all of the tags, including the ones over on this side here. So you can purchase that by the yard. And then as far as colors of cardstock, we always like to recommend colors of cardstock with the layout in case people want to pick up cardstock for matting. So they're all Color Vibe cardstock colors. And the first one would be Pool. And then Robin's Egg. So both of those are the teals that go really nicely with the colors in the collection. You can see what those look like there. So the lighter one is Robin's Egg. The darker one is Pool. And then I use the lime green for the word, and it ties nicely into the colors on the page as well. There is an orange that goes with it too, because you've got orange in the tags and orange in the stickers. So if you want to pick up orange, if that's your color. And then there are 2 shades of pink. So we've got Flamingo and Bubblegum. So one is lighter, one is darker. And both of those colors go very nicely with the colors in the collection. So those are the cardstock colors that we recommend if you are shopping for cardstock. And then as far as stamps and dies, there are a few this time. So I'm going to talk about the stamp set first. Where is mine? Right here. So this is one I've had in my Moments and Memories stash of products for a while. And I love stamp sets like this. They are just so versatile. I find especially in scrapbooking, like making layouts. So whether you're doing, mini albums or full-size pages, whatever you do, I love sets like this. Mainly for the words and the little clusters of text and what do you call this? Like splatter and things. So this set is the set that I used to do all of this stamping on my little Polaroids. So you can see I've done some stamping on all of them. Plus it's done all the little splattering that you see in my little clusters. I did not use the silhouette branches this time. Now that's not to say that I won't pull this out in future layouts. I'm not promising anything. I don't like to restrict myself to that, but I have been known to go back and pull add-ons that we have used on previous pages and pull them in to future pages. Plus, you might see these things pop up on our title page that we do at the end of the year. So we do not have enough for everybody. We ordered kind of the average amount that we would use or go through when we do this type of thing. But this has been ordered for a long time. So as our numbers increase or decrease, they fluctuate as we go through the years. This is not something that I can reorder. So you've kind of get it while you can see it. We do have quite a number of them in stock right now. So we should be good based on our very complex math equations that we use to figure this out. But this is available as an add-on. I'm not sure if Shelby has everything populated in the shopping section yet or not, but you can go there and check it out. And then the next one is these instant photo frames from Tailored Expressions. So this is a newer product. As soon as I saw it was released, I grabbed it right away because I knew that I would be using these on layouts. Now, again, I am not going to... Is it really spelt that way? I never even noticed. Let me see. Are you talking about this? Where does it say favorite? Or did I do it somewhere else? Am I missing something? Favorite. Did you see something I didn't see? Point it out if you did. Because I don't know what you're looking at, but I'm kind of clueless when it comes to stuff like that. I don't pay too much attention. But these frames, I think you will see these resurface. I'm already thinking that I might use them for next month. But I'm not going to promise because my mind, yes, on the stamp set, it's great. Okay, wonderful. I'm glad. Oh, wait a minute. Like you mean right here. Yeah, I see it. You've got good eyes. Yep. But it's funny because most of the companies are American. They do often leave those U's out. I've gotten so used to it that I don't even notice it anymore. But yeah, so these frames are really awesome. There are 3 different sizes. We are using the middle size on our page here. And I added a Polaroid frame to every one of my tags. And a photo is in behind it. And then I stamped on it and I popped them up. And I just think it looks terrific. I love the way it turned out. I could coordinate it with paper that coordinated with the collection, and it worked out really well. So that is a die set that I am using. And now if we did not order enough of these, oh, sorry, I should mention that. They are actually not in stock right now, but they are already shipped. And we are expecting them to arrive next week, Thursday. So the wait won't be very long at all. So they're going to be in a pre-order status. So you can go ahead and order them. And that way that you've paid for them and they're reserved for you. We have the exact amount in there that we've ordered. And like I said, they should be here next Thursday. So I already know they're on the way. So if we did not order enough, though, we can easily get more of this. So that's not a problem. So don't panic. And then the final thing that I used, and I'm kind of have to apologize a little bit about this, are these little hearts. So all these little hearts that you see in my little clusters and on some of the photo frames. So I used a Little Bits set that Tailored Expressions has had for a very long time, and I had it in my stash. Well, it turns out they've discontinued it, but I didn't know that. But there is an alternative, and I'm going to bring on my little slideshow here because I did pull up this one. So this is the Little Bits Hearts. I used, oh, I didn't make this big enough here so you can see. I used the Wonky Hearts. So the Wonky Hearts give you this framed heart, which is like got an open center in it. Do you see there? Whereas this Little Bit set does not have that option. Do I think in the grand scheme of things it's going to alter the look of your page? Absolutely not. I love the pop of black, and I think using the different sizes of hearts that are available in this set will work perfectly on here. But I know some of you are going to really like the idea of this open heart. So here, just to show you what this little set looks like if you use it on something, there's just all the different variations in sizes available in that little set. So this is an A2 size card. So it kind of gives you an idea of the sizing. So there's lots of variation. I love the shape of this heart. It's nice and round and proportionate, and it does give you lots of different sizes. Now, if you're really loving the idea of having this open heart, there is another option just for the open heart, though. And that is this set here. It's called Sketched Hearts. So these, all of these are open in the middle. They're quite large, though, except for the teeny tiny one that you see on the right-hand side up near the top there. That small one would be around this size, maybe just slightly bigger, but around that size. So if you really have your heart set on something, or you're looking for something to add to your stash that has that open heart, this is what they kind of look like when you die cut them out. So you can see that little one in green. That's the one that would be similar to the size that I used on my layout. So now the middles do pop out of this, and they are heart shaped. So maybe the heart that pops out of that little green one, you could use as the small heart like here. But it won't be I'll call it a normal shaped heart. It'll be a little bit wonky. But I did want to give you some options. So we do have that available as a pre-order as well, and I do have some on the way. I didn't order those quite as heavy, but like I said, it's a product that we can order. So if we happen to go through them quickly, we can definitely order them. But that is my fault because I had no idea that this was not available anymore. Like I just assumed that they had it, and I should have looked first. But if you might already have hearts in your stash that you can use, there are a couple of hearts available on the sticker sheet, but there aren't very many. So I went through them pretty quick. Let me see, where are they? There's just a few here, and I found some of them to be too big. So I did use a couple of the small ones, but I did move on. I think, is there any in the page pieces? I don't recall. Let's just have a quick look here. No, none in the page pieces. So, yeah. So those are the three sort of stamp die options that you have for the calendar this month. I haven't done a lot of add-ons in the previous few months, so I didn't feel too bad about adding three little things this time. So anyways, as far as measurements and things like that, there's not a lot, because what you're going to do is you're going to take your tag paper, and I actually focused on the reverse side of the page. So you've got like the blank part on the bottom and then the patterns on the top. And what I did was I cut them into 3 rows. Okay, so you're going to end up with 3 rows of tags. And then what I did do is on this row here, which is this one, is it? Nope, it's this one. So I used the 4 along the bottom here, and this pink one we actually don't end up using. So on the reverse side of it, it's got that lady talking on the phone. I didn't use this tag. It's the only one I didn't use. So you're going to use 4 of the tags. So you're going to cut your row, and then you're going to cut this one off. And this row here is going to be your middle row right there. So then I just snip off the corners and punch out the hole, and then I just placed it on there. The top row is everything except for this one. But we are using this tag, and we are using this tag on page with the calendar. So the 4 that you're going to use on the top row are these 4 here, and that's this one. And then the ones that you're going to use on this bottom row are these 4 here. And then this one we're going to save for the other page. So is everybody clear on what you do with the tags? You cut them into rows, and then you're going to eliminate these 2 tags and this tag off of your rows and set them aside. Okay. So really easy. And then when you place the tags on your page, they actually overlap. So I'll show you this section right here. So the top is, again, you'll just kind of notice how much space there is between this and the top of the white paper. And I'll go through measurements for that in a minute. And then you're going to place the next row. You're going to overlap and see how it meets the part where it angles. That's kind of where you're going to overlap. And then this part, again, it overlaps as well, this row here, and it starts at about where the angle starts on this. So really easy to kind of line it up. This one is over to the side, this one is over to this side, and this one's over to this side. So they're kind of like, 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. And then I placed this area here is where I placed my title. And the title on this is really generic. So here's the thing. When I first started playing around, here's all my leftovers. When I first started playing around, I was going to use this. This is in the page pieces. It's the word smile. And you can see I was stitching it and doing all kinds of crazy things. So I was going to use that. But for some reason, it just blended in so much with the tags. I think it's because it was taller and it filled up so much of the space. It was really bugging me. So I ditched that idea. And the other thing I was really drawn to was this happiness sticker. And I thought the word happiness just encompasses so many things. And I think it makes for a really generic title. So I thought, what can I put with the word happiness? And then they have this great hello sticker. And I love the black with the rainbow colors. So I thought, hello happiness. So hello happiness can be anything. You could be doing photos of a birthday. You can do photos of a trip. You can do photos of graduations. In June, lots of people graduate school and all kinds of stuff. So I thought it was really generic and you could use it for lots of things because I don't think I want to jump into the summer word yet. Because if I do, you could pretty much start that in May and then you'd have 4 summer pages. So I really wanted to kind of keep this generic and I thought that it worked out really well. So anyways, that's how I got my title, was because I used this sticker here and the hello. But you could always replace this hello word with another word that goes with happiness. So lots of flexibility for sure. And then I did tuck a photo cluster up here, and that is from the Page Pieces package. It is this one right here. So that's the one that I used. Oops, that's not focused. There we go. Oh, that's still not focused. There we go. So I do, that's where I just sort of tuck that in there. So that's my hello happiness. And then I did have a couple of hearts that I put as the centers of the P's, which I thought worked really good. So that's how I created that part. And then over here in the Page Pieces, there is a camera. Okay. Why is that not focusing? So there's the camera, but I actually covered it all up. I just liked, I love to layer pieces and create clusters. And I like how this kind of worked as a backdrop. So then I added another piece of ephemera. There's another piece in here. So that's kind of sideways. And then there's a pear sticker and a couple of buttons. Now the buttons are from the Page Pieces. And I did stitch. I know, I'm an idiot. I did stitch the thread mark on them. So I just pierced a little hole and added the thread. The buttons actually do have a little black line on them, so you don't have to stitch if you don't want to, but it just adds a little bit of texture. And then I used a sticker This one here, it says life is so very good, which I also really love this sticker. And I cut off the word life. Okay, so I just have the word life. That is the sticker here. And then one from the word stickers here, I chose all smiles. And then I clustered some hearts and some tiny diamonds up here along with that stamping. But we'll talk about the stamping in a minute. So that's what I used there. I talked about this. Oh, and then the little cluster down here, that is a sticker, I think, right here. So I put that there. So now I've kind of got that triangle going on that works so well. And that is all the embellishing on that. Each one of the tags has a frame, and I will talk about how I created those in just a minute. And then I also embellished the frames that didn't have the stamping on them with a black heart that I used my die to cut out. Okay, clear as mud. Does anybody have any questions? You guys are all so very quiet. I know there's 30 of you on here, so somebody has to have something to say. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask about this, I'm happy to answer them. I'll talk about the background paper and I'll talk about how I created the Polaroids in just a minute. But any of the things that I've gone over so far, I'm happy to clarify anything that you might need clarification on. But for now, I'll just move on to this page here. So over in this corner, the two tags that we didn't use on the other page, they're the ones that have the black on the tops. Monica, I think I can actually make this page stress-free. It is a pretty great page. I think they're all fun, and none of this should ever be stressful. It should always be fun. But yes, I hope you do have a stress-free journey. Okay. So these two tags here are the two that we didn't use in those two rows. We're not using the pink one. If you flip them over, one of them is this pink with the floral along the bottom. And the other one is this green one with the cherries on it. Well, I don't want the cherries. So I actually layered those two together. Pink one on the front, green one on the back. And the pink one covers up everything on the green except for green. So you don't see the cherry and you don't see the word so sweet. Okay, so that's the two tags. And then I did punch the hole and add the embroidery floss and stapled it down just like I did on the other ones. And then I'll just kind of go through the elements that I layered on top. So here, we'll start at the bottom, is a black scallop. So I think it's the page pieces. Let me find the thing. Yep. Here's the black scallop piece here. I cut off 2 of the bumps and I only have 3 left. Okay, so the 3 bumps are here. So I just placed that right over top of the floral. And it's kind of a landing spot for this sticker right here. So that is from the sticker sheet. And it says cute. My granddaughter is in a lot of the photos. So I did use the word cute. You could substitute something else on here. You could even use the life is so very good if you don't cut off that life sticker. Originally, I did have that here. And if you do that, you might want to go to 4 bumps on your black scallop instead of 3 because it's a little wider. But it also looked very good there. I just ended up swapping it out. But that's the beauty of having extra embellishments because you can play around with stuff and decide how you want it to look. So I did use the cute sticker. The cherries are from the page pieces. They're right here. And this light bulb is also from the page pieces right here. And the life is more fun in color is also from the page pieces. Then we've got a couple more buttons, which are also from here. I did stitch on them. And then I added this sticker right here that says love. It's also on here, right down at the bottom. So it went here. And then I added my hearts and my tiny diamonds and my stamping. And then on here, depending on how you lay your photos out, I did add a few stickers to just fill in some of the space. I'll just put that side by side again so you can see it. So I just kind of, again, put them on there with some foam squares behind them or foam tape or whatever. And then I can kind of place them and move them around before I take the backing off. and it lets me sort of decide if I like the way that it looks. Sometimes it can take me like, I don't know, 20 minutes to decide where to place my gems and my and my sticker words. And sometimes I'll put them on and I'll walk away, and then I'll come back maybe 15 or 20 minutes later and have another look at it, because I find if I look at it too long, sometimes I'm like, wow, I just don't even know if I like it anymore. So that's kind of what I did. So now we're going to go back to the background on this. What I did with the pink paper that is in this kit is I cut the center out of it because I wanted to be able to use it as a frame for the background. So behind the white all the way around, you'll see that pink that shows up. But then I wanted to use the middle because it's all going to get covered up with the white paper. I wanted to use that to make my frames. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut this out and you're going to leave a 1-inch border all the way around. I'll demonstrate how to do that. Oh, Monica, I'm so flattered. I've always been her favorite scrapbook page designer. Well, who knew? Well, I know Monica's a big scrapbooker, and I've said in our videos before that we don't spend a lot of time focusing on our collections. And we do come out with this bundle once a month, and it is in our Moments and Memories series. Now, we have plans to create some bundles for other themes throughout the year. So, for instance, I'm going to plan to have a Halloween bundle, and we, between Amanda and myself, we are going to share the designing of some pages as inspiration to go along with these bundles. And they'll run very much like we do with the calendars, or sorry, the Moments in Memory series, except they might not always be double page layouts. We'll have to see how that goes. We'll have to see how it goes. Again, I do not want to put myself in a box and have to stay in that box. So there's going to be add-ons. There's going to be inspiration. So when there's inspiration, it means that we kind of just create some stuff to inspire you. You can do what we did if you want to purchase certain items, or you can go rogue and do your own thing. So we've got product ordered already. We're going to be starting that in the near future. So hang tight. That's our plan. Once the product is ordered, we have to do something with it. So that is what we're planning to do. So we're going to continue with Moments and Memories, because that does the calendar side of the page, and it's kind of like a monthly thing that sort of highlights every month throughout the year. So we're going to continue with that, but we're also going to intersperse some of the inspiration for other collections that we bring in, and kind of give that a try. So what do you guys think of that idea? Yay? Nay? I know Monica's on board. But yeah, it's fun. Okay, so for this, we're going to cut out the center. Now, when I do that, I have to go back to I'll call it my old school trimmer. I don't usually use this trimmer very much anymore. It is the Fiskars blade trimmer, because I use a guillotine trimmer when I scrapbook, and that doesn't work for this particular technique. So you have to remove the barcode. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut the paper out, but we want to leave a frame that we can put our white paper on top, and then the center is going to pop out, and we're going to use that to do die cutting with. So what I usually do, and I don't know how your trimmers are set up, but I have a grid on this side of the cutting line as well. So I put the edge of my paper on the 1-inch mark, and then I start cutting 1 inch in and stop 1 inch from the edge, and that gives me my thing. If you don't have measurements on this side, you can do it this way as well. You just put the edge of your paper on the 11-inch mark. Okay, so what that's going to do is the paper is going to hang over 1 inch from where you're going to cut. You're going to take your blade and you're going to start cutting 1 inch in from the edge. So don't start at the top. You want to start 1 inch in, and you're going to stop 1 inch from the bottom. Okay, and that way you're not cutting right out to the edges. And then you're just going to turn this and you're going to do the same thing on all 4 sides. Okay, so that's how you do that. And then when you're all done, so this is actually my daughter's page right now. So the center is going to be cut out for her. And when you're done, all your cut lines should intersect. If they don't, no big deal. You just use your scissors and make them intersect, because you're not going to see the corners because we're going to put white paper. So there's the piece that's popped out. Okay, I'm going to use that to do my die cutting. And here is, let me get my trimmer out of the way. Here is your frame. Okay, so that is super easy. Now what I'm going to do is take the white paper that comes in your kit, if I can find the piece. Here we go. And I'm just going to trim this down 1/4 of an inch on 2 sides, 2 opposite sides. I think I did 1/4. I might have done 1/2, but we'll see. So there's 1/4 there. And then we're going to do 1/4 here. And if it's not enough, you can just cut a little bit more, depending on how much of a border you want. Keeping in mind that you do have rows of tags that you have to get across your paper. So I cut 1/4 inch off 2 sides. So this, yeah, that's what I did. Nope, I did a little bit more. Okay, so that gives you a very thin border, which works. Gives you a little more space for your tags, but I have a little bit more. So I'm going to take a little bit more off. And that's the other thing I try to whoops, not that much. What am I doing? I'm doing another 1/4. So I'm going to take it's going to end up being 1/2 inch off 2 sides, 2 opposite, not opposite, in each direction, so that you can shorten the height and the width of your paper. I'm trying to think and talk at the same time. It's not really working. Okay, there, that's better. So now you get a bit wider border. Yep, that's what I did. So it's 1/2 inch off one side and then 1/2 inch off the other side of your paper. That's going to give you a wider border and still lots of room for your tags. Now this piece is what you're going to use to cut out your Polaroids. So I'm not going to go through the die cutting process because that's pretty easy. But I'm going to grab the die set again. And I'm going to pull it out just so you can see. So like I said, there's 3 different frame sizes in here. And I used the medium size one, which is this one here. And I kept a frame in my little bag here, I think, and my strip. So let me just grab that out. And I'll show you. Here we go. So what I did was I measured how wide my die was. And then I cut my paper into strips. And I'm just going to simply place my Polaroid on there and run it through my die cut machine. And you get several in, I got 4 in each strip. So then you end up with your Polaroids like this. Okay. So I'll just tell you how wide this is. It's 2.5 inches is how wide I cut my strip. And then you can put your Polaroid on there and run it through your die cut machine. Easy peasy. Then what I did was I pulled out that stamp set because the Polaroids are cute, but I wanted to do something with them. And that's where I really liked putting the little stamp on each one. And you'll notice on my layout that I stamped this one and didn't stamp this one. And then I stamped this one, but you notice I did it on opposite ends. So just to kind of spread it out and make it look a little less side by side. And then these 2, I stamped this one. And then I did these 2 on the bottom. And there are some really great phrases in here. There's the all for you, make a wish, reach for the stars, shine bright, sending you hugs, hello friend, stay right here, and just do your best. Now, I did tend to stick with the shorter ones just because I think they look nicer on the Polaroid rather than having it stamped straight across the whole bottom. So that's a personal choice. The longer ones do fit, so you can use them if you want to, but I chose not to. I chose to stick with the smaller ones. So some of them are repeated. So Shine Bright is here and it's also here. And then Hello Friend is here. Did I use another one? Nope, I just repeated one, it looks like. So I was fine with repeating one. I didn't mind. So that is how I did that part. And then the clusters of splatter. Oh my gosh, there's some really great sets in here. So this one here has the splatter, but then it also has like, I don't know, like percent signs. And I don't know, it looks like a math equation a little bit. But it's got just like some symbols. This is the one I used for my clusters. And then this one down here has the ampersand and slashes in it. And then this one's a little bit longer. So you can definitely choose how you want to do your clusters, but they are fun to use. I'm going to just pull this one out and I'll show you what it looks like when you stamp it. Now, because I don't think that many of you have a MISTI that is 12 by 12. There is one called the Memory MISTI, but most of us don't have that. So you're going to have to use a block to stamp on your page. So you have to be brave. This might be the stress that Monica is not looking forward to. But we did put our favorite stamping blocks in the shopping category. So these are Gina K. I use these two a lot when I'm doing my stamping, but depending on the size of your piece, like this one is quite a bit bigger, so you might need a little larger block. She does have a set of blocks where you get lots of different sizes. I highly recommend them. They do have grids on them, so you can see if your stamps are straight. But I just, I try to choose a block that is similar to the size of my stamp, because you have a lot more control when you're stamping. If you're using a large block and you just have a tiny stamp, I'm not saying that you can't do it, but it's just more comfortable to do it with a block that actually fits your stamp size. So what I'm going to do is just grab a scrap of paper and I'll just show you what I do. It's easy stamping, but I'll show you what it looks like. So you're just going to stamp. And look at that. You get that beautiful splatter. Like, how many places are you going to use this? A billion. And if you want another layer, you can like turn your set around and you can kind of like overlap them so that you get a larger piece. Okay. So that is how these little splatter stamps work. They're very fun to intersperse and fill in and create splatter blobs. And the great thing is you have a lot of control. So if you're like me, that whole splattering thing can be scary because you don't know where your splatter is going to go or how big the blobs are going to be when you splatter. And I wanted very targeted areas of splatter. I wanted it to peek out behind the tags and I wanted it to go with my clusters. I didn't want it on everything else this time. So this allowed me to do very controlled areas of my splatter. So what I did was I positioned my tags and I just didn't stick them down all the way here. And then I lifted it up and I did my stamping and then I could lay the tag over top and fasten it down. So it's quite easy to do. So I did that in 3 different sections, again, creating that visual triangle that everybody loves so much. And then I just added my hearts and my tiny diamonds to those spots. And that's how I created those clusters. And then the same thing is over on this side too. Okay. So very easy to do and replicate. And then as far as the words go, I'm just going to show you what they look like. So this is one of these magical stamps that you can stamp in any color that you want. Now I'm doing it in black because I love the pops of black on this layout. But if you wanted your strips to be blue or pink or yellow or orange or whatever color, like for other projects even, then you can stamp in that color of ink and the words are going to remain, in this case, because I'm stamping on white, they're going to remain white. Okay. If I was stamping on orange paper, then the words are going to be orange. If I'm stamping on blue paper, then the words are going to be blue. And if I was using black ink, that whole faded or stamped area is going to be black. But if you are using white paper and you stamp in blue, your stamp is going to be blue, but your words are going to be white. Does that make sense? So I like this kind of a stamp. It really gives lots of flexibility. And you can stamp this on strips of paper. You can stamp it on little Polaroid frames. You can stamp it right on your background. And then the text stamps that come in this set, I need a larger block. The text stamps that come in this set are really cool. They're like, we'll use the favorite one since it was pointed out. They're like repetitive little clusters. And I'm going to stamp one out. And the technique I like to use with this, I'm going to stamp it all solid first. And sometimes when I'm stamping by hand, I'll just let that stamp sit on there and let that ink soak into your paper. I rocked it just a little bit to make sure I'm getting good coverage and then lift it up. But see how it gives you that awesome thing? So that says, we are better together. Together is my favorite. We belong together. Forever plus evermore. Together is my favorite. So that's what that says. But if you want a more subtle look with these text stamps, you can stamp and then stamp again and even stamp again. And as you stamp, your ink gets more and more faded out. So it's not so bold and in your face. It can be very subtle. So even just using portions of it is fun too. So I love everything about this stamp set. I have many stamps like this in my collection. I can't always go grab them though, because some of them are very old and they're not available anymore. And you don't like it when I use stuff like that on my pages. So I always have to try to find new things that people can actually buy if they don't have this type of thing in their collection already. So that is definitely a favorite of mine. So hopefully you love it as well. Is there anything else you want me to go over before I sign off? What am I saying? I'm going to share my screen here. Let me just pull up our website. I'm going to see if I can do this mid live. It doesn't always allow me to do this kind of stuff when I'm. It's going to allow me to. Well, look at that. Okay, let's add this up here. So let's look at our website, because I'm going to show you where you find everything. So right here is the Moments and Memories 2026. So when you click on that, all the months that we've already done are in here. So we're going to June 2026 because that's the month that we're in right now. And at the top, Shelby is so clever. She has listed all of the materials that are used. I went through the add-ons. I went through what the bundle includes, the suggested stamps and dies. That will stay on here. So I know there's several people that take these bundles to crops and things like that. And, you want to gather your supplies and to go back and watch the video every time, you can just come straight here and you can see what these supplies are. So if you go through here, there's your bundle. Okay. So you're going to just add that to your cart. There's your month. There's the pre-order dies. So see how they say pre-order right here? That means that they're not here right now, but you are buying them and reserving them for yourself. Okay, and here's the stamping blocks I was talking about. They're so awesome. There's your stamp set, the sanding blocks, the ink, the tiny diamonds, the floss, just some suggestions for other black inks that you want to pick up, the other colors that we talked about. So all those things are in here. And if they sell out, then they will disappear. But the list is at the top here. And if you ever have any questions, you can always ask and we are happy to help. So I just wanted to show you where all that stuff was located. So just to go back to our online store again, everything for our Moments and Memories series, oops, now I went too far, is in this category. That's for 2026. And then 2025 is still up here. Now we don't leave that up forever. So make sure you get what you need out of there, but there's all the stuff for the year that we did last year. So we'll get out of there. We don't need to share that anymore. Remove. There we go. Okay, Barb wants to know the measurement of the Polaroid. Well, that's kind of top secret. You can figure that part out when you get your bundle. Like if you're going to makeshift one yourself, you can kind of figure that out looking at your base at the back there. I am promoting the bundle, so the tag die. So if you want to buy that die, you'll have the medium size one, and you can go ahead and do that. But otherwise, you can kind of figure out how big you need to make your Polaroids. And depending on what size your photos are, you may want to make them a bit bigger, a bit smaller, or whatever. And then would I show the tiny diamonds again? Yes, I can show you the tiny diamonds. They're still in packaging here. There they are. So there's a bold set and a pastel set, but the colors are very, very similar. One is just a little lighter than the other. But I could tell you right now, I could hand you one or the other and they would work perfectly. Okay. So that is the tiny diamonds. And I love the tiny diamonds. They are amazing. They last forever, for sure. Forever. Because you only use a couple of them at a time and they're just so fun. They work great in shaker cards too, if you like to do that. Okay, I think that's it. I think I covered everything. I think that you have all the information that you need. This video will live on our YouTube channel. I have to remember to go in and put it under the playlist. I think I have to do that for last month's video too. When I set up these videos to go live so that they show up on our YouTube channel ahead of time, it doesn't allow me to put them on the playlist. I have to do it afterwards. And sometimes I forget to go in there and do it. So if anybody ever notices that I haven't done it and you want to send me an email, I'm not opposed to that. It would remind me to go in there and do it. But I will try and remember to go in there and move that over to the playlist as well. But you can always find it scrolling through our live videos as well. Okay, so I think that is it. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the page. I hope you enjoy making the page. And yeah, happy crafting. We will see you all again soon.